working.
When it feels like.
Thank you, AABM.
I was going to switch computer.
Oh, man. It's working. Happy to have the music back. You know, it's kind of loud through your phone.
Yeah, I didn't know to have action. You know.
You ain't really control it through YouTube, too. I thought I had to hit live on there, but no, we're here. Both of them started at the same time. It's a good time. Hello, everybody. Welcome, Above Average Black Men. Getting things set up right now. We're working men. Day's been a little long for us.
Yeah, I posted that we were running a little late.
Yeah, Devin will be here joining us shortly.
Yeah.
Of course, we'll get things started.
Another good show. Yeah, looking forward to it. Hopefully, everybody who liked it today will chime in. And,
I'm looking forward to it too. I think it's something that's kind of needed today. You know.
Yeah. But we took some of what you said.
Yeah.
You're suggesting the topic.
Yeah, I know. And that's when I saw it, I was like, I like how you mixed that and did that. Okay?
Yeah, we took the topic. Man. Well, I think it's pretty cool, man, because been a lot of talk about that lately.
Yeah.
About relationships.
Yeah.
And not all good, man. But
I know.
I'm all gonna jump into this, man. Welcome to another episode of Above Average Black Men. Yours truly, Chris A. Pendle Sr.
Chris Jr., as always, here to empower, inspire, and uplift the community. On behalf of my brother, like, follow, subscribe, share, all those good things. Tonight we're live on Facebook.
Yeah.
Not necessarily Instagram at the moment, but, you know, hopefully our Instagram family will join us shortly. But nonetheless, got a great topic here tonight. And if you heard, I would say probably a little of us in the beginning here. Something I think that everybody is probably talking about or making comments about.
Yeah.
Outside of Drake and Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about the power, of couples or men and women working together. I think it's a great topic, man. The spinoff was, you were talking about, let's talk about what you look for in a man and woman. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I came up with it, because if you pay attention, man, there's so much back and forth, between men and women and even in relationships. The roles, are kind of all over the place now.
Yeah.
And I got into a conversation with somebody about Kevin Samuels, which is pretty funny.
It always comes up.
We were talking. I did Assembly in Norristown. I showed you the pictures. So in between, I was talking to somebody, somebody who sometimes I work with, lovely young lady, and she was saying how what's going on in society. Well, let me step back up. I asked the kids a question. I said, from 1 to 5, 5 being the highest, 1 being the lowest, rate how you view yourself.
Mm-hmm.
5 the tops, 1 the lowest. So the first group, it was about 75 kids. Maybe 10 kids saw themselves as a 5. It blew me away. And a lot saw themselves as a 1.
Really?
Yeah, it was Chris, man. I was like, man. So, and I had to say, teachers, you need to pay attention to this. Look, because,
wow.
A lot of things that's happening with our kids is not just about what's happening, it's about what's causing it.
Yeah, that's actually kind of sad.
So when I sit down, I'm talking to the young lady, and she starts talking about what the issue is about couples, and so Kevin Samuels came up like, and I was like, well, my kids were in Boston. I kind of binge watched it. I said, I don't agree with how he said it, but everything he said, was pretty much true and on point. I said, his delivery was off. He said, yeah, I know. And so we were talking about it. And one of the things that came out of it was we were talking about how people don't work together anymore either. Like
right.
Even in the house is like everybody's kind of in their little shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's in their lane, and sometimes we get so preoccupied, even if it's success, chasing success,
mm-hmm.
That I got my version, you got your version. So we hustling, or we don't really take time because of social media. You go out to dinner, everybody's on their phone, even the kids, there's no time to really talk to your kids to help build up self-esteem.
Yeah.
And then it got me to thinking like, man, because somebody posted something which was crazy. If your wife borrows $10,000, he doesn't pay you back. what would you do? And I'm thinking to myself, like, first of all, why is your wife borrowing $10,000?
Yeah, your wife is
like,
borrowing.
yeah, but it was interesting
$10,000?
because people were chiming in. I'm thinking to myself, like, whoa, and,
But that just shows you the climate and kind
yeah,
of where we are
yes,
today. And I was trying to
yes,
that's why I specifically was
yeah,
like, yeah, let's talk about uh, the relationship between men and women.
yeah,
And I like how you said it, kind of the power of men and women working together, because I don't think people necessarily look at it from that perspective of saying, hey, it's benefits to men and women being able to work together. Um, I feel like it's a lot of contention, a lot of back and forth. I seen the video today online, and it was it was upsetting a little bit to see, because it was just this general hypothetical question of asking women, if you were in the woods, would you rather be trapped with a bear or a man? Now, what do you think the answer to that question would be? What do you think?
Well, if I don't have a man, I'm gonna say a bear. If I got a problem with men, I'm gonna say a bear.
But I think the rate
Yeah.
at which bear was said is frightening. Like, to not even think that of a man, I would say in some type of usefulness, it immediately goes to the negative sides of men, or assuming that all men are kind of dangerous. Just as a bear.
But believe it or not, I'm not surprised. Now I think some of them people just talking to talk.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality of it all is, I'm not surprised, because you hear things where people are in relationships, and it's like, what's his is his and what's hers is hers.
Mm-hmm.
They put money in a pot. There's no, you bills. They split the bills down the middle. You keep your bills, you keep my bills. There's no joint checking account. I hear more and more of that. You pay for this, I'll pay for that. I'm starting to hear this more and more, so it's becoming a norm. I think there's two things that added to it is, and I'm gonna get in trouble for this, but since this certain surge of women to be independent, which I love independent women. My wife is totally independent, but it became independence, by sacrificing men.
Yeah, over everything.
So now I'm taking over. My independence means I got to take over. So I think that's part of it. I think the second thing is, and I find myself saying this pretty much every our conversation, if you keep any people fighting against each other, they never see the big picture.
And I think that's
they never see the big picture.
Here.
So society throws hand grenades in there, about dads versus moms, light skin versus dark skin, educated versus uneducated. So I think those things have kind of infiltrated. But if you take it back to couples not working together, I think it's changed a lot, because I use myself as an example. I was talking to a young lady. I said, I was referencing the Kevin Samuels show that we saw. And because she had brought up something similar, some people had said to her that, I got to have a man that's making six figures. So we were like, where did it come from? So my thing was, when I met your mom, as a lot of my friends, I didn't have a lot.
Right.
I had some dreams, I had some hopes,
and the ethic,
and the work ethic. But she didn't know. I mean, she didn't know how real that was.
Right.
But together we were able to establish some stuff. You don't hear that story that often anymore.
Nope.
You don't hear that. That's not a common. Now I have a lot of friends who did the same thing, but you don't hear that now. I hear I gotta have mine before we get together. And I'm thinking to myself, like, wait a minute. But it makes sense. It goes back to what I said earlier. That's why these kids are kind of screwed up.
Yeah, because you hear kids actually spewing and saying a lot of these things now too, and repeating this stuff. It's like,
if your sense of family is mom versus dad, what are you learning?
Yeah, and I think one thing that you said that I kind of wanted to backtrack to was just kind of the big picture, the idea of men and women coming together ultimately for a big picture. Yeah. I think that's something that isn't necessarily probably even talked about or communicated thoroughly between parties. And I don't think that I don't think people know what that is, I don't think people really understand or know what their big picture is. And I think that's probably why you see so much of this kind of contention and confusion, because honestly, even to say like, oh, I just want somebody that has six figures, you're not even necessarily looking at like, man, somebody has to work to get to that.
But you just answered the riddle we were talking about earlier. What I was talking about was as part of I sent you the pictures of the assembly I did. One of the questions I had the kids about mental health was, on a scale of 1 to 5, how do you rate your value in yourself? How you see yourself? 5 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. I did 2 assemblies, about 75 in each one, and each one combined, maybe 15 out of all those kids raised their hand for a 5. There were a lot of ones, and I felt that disturbed. But what you said is true, because if parents don't have it, how can you give it to your kids?
Yeah.
If you telling your daughter marry somebody because they got to have it, or this is kind of a raunchy statement I hear, well, the cookie ain't free. You saying stuff like that, yeah, to your kids, and that they're growing up. So that's what's being passed down to generation to generation, because unless somebody changes that daughter, that she's passing down to her daughter.
Yeah.
And that becomes a cycle. And I think what you see now is, when you look at some of our kids and the whole mental health thing is real, why they can't sustain relationships. I'm working with about 70 men right now, and great guys, but some of the conversations and some of the stuff that I think is basic is not basic. Guys can't say I love you because it was never said to them, because it's a sign of weakness. Or you got to keep stuff separate because they may cheat, and when they cheat, they're gonna take their stuff. I mean, that's the stuff that's flying around now.
Yeah.
And I told you, more and more people are separate, his and hers. There's no together anymore.
Yeah. I don't think we even kind of talk about it from a perspective of like, man, what are the benefits of men and women coming together? More often than not, you just hear the bad or the downside of it. I feel like talking to my girlfriend, we were just saying how sometimes like you get together with your friends that are in relationships or have kids, and they're not talking about any of the things that are going well. You know what I mean? Or like how it's a lot of you just hear complaints.
Well, see, this is what I said. This is what I said to the kids, man. There's 3 things.
It's a negative perspective.
But there's 3 things that you gotta. One, if that's your friends, you gotta change your friends. But for those people, like for me, every day I wake up, I find something to be grateful for. I do. I don't look for the other part of it out, because there's always something to complain about. The second thing is, I find something to like about myself. What do I find something to make sure I stay positive? Yeah, but that's how, if you don't like you, how you gonna stay positive? You know what I mean?
True.
If you got issues with yourself, if you think you know good, you think you don't deserve stuff, you can't be in a healthy, sustainable relationship. And the third thing is, I find something to look forward to every day, because it starts with you. And I say that because if you can start there, the other stuff kind of comes in. Now, if I got an issue in any one of those areas, how can I be in a healthy relationship?
Yeah.
If I hate waking up in the morning, I'm not happy when I get up in the morning. I'm negative and pain in the butt. I'm mad at you because you happy in the morning. If I don't see value in myself, I never think I'm worthy of anything. So I expect bad stuff to happen to me. And so you got to watch those things. If I have nothing to look forward to, that's people that you get lazy. You got nothing to push you or to just, and I say that's even in relationships. And then you go back to the point where we live in a selfish time, not selfless. We got to keep stuff. I got to have mine, you got to have yours. Or it's a competition in a relationship. If you make 6 figures, God makes 6 figures. You hear God says, my wife can't make more than I make. Some of the stuff you hear.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess my kind of root of this question is like, what are the benefits or like kind of I think the power of men and women being able to come and work together? Like,
I think one is happiness. I think when you truly find somebody that you can work with, you are happier. I think statistics show couples who work together are happier. It doesn't mean you're not going to have bad times, but it means you're going to have more good times than bad times. It means when you do have those bad times, you got something to recall, something good that you can talk about, instead of saying, man, this has been like this for years. Yeah. I think you're happier. I think 2, you're better off financially. Because you got 2 incomes working. You're better off financially, man. And that's a big deal. You always talk about money, is not. We always have to be on the opposite ends here. But that's a big deal. I think 3, your relationship is a lot more sustainable, because you can stand when stuff happens. You always got somebody that has your back. You always have somebody. Even when you're wrong, they got your back. I think that's a benefit. I think another benefit of it, the children. You raise healthier children. And I don't mean just physically. I mean spiritually. I'm talking about emotionally. Because you got 2 parents pouring into them, and because most of the time parents pour different things. Yes. So that's why you need 2 parents and not just one. Now, if we're working against each other, I'm always going to be against you, man. and sometimes you got to recognize when, it's her turn, and when it's your turn. Like sometimes you got to recognize who's the hammer. It could in every
Who's the hammer?
who's some, because there's always someone in a relationship that's a little more punitive when it comes to discipline. But everything is not about the death penalty. You know what I mean? So you've got to have a balance.
Yeah.
And that's how you strike a balance, because you've got two people who are keeping each other in check. So you're not doing crazy stuff. Like, you know what? Hey, okay, Devin did that, but this ain't the death penalty. We can just have a conversation with him. We ain't got to lock him in this room and put him in prison. You need that balance, man. So, I mean, I think for us, because we had the balance, I was able to go out and start my business. I'm able to run my business because I got somebody that got my back that's holding it down.
And I was just thinking about that, like the idea of like being able to balance each other out. Like, I think that is something that's certainly getting blurred today too. Is that there's benefits to being a man just as much as there's benefits to being a woman, and I think they certainly can differ, but they can lead to something great or meet in the same place.
They work hand in hand.
Yeah, they work hand in hand. And I think that gets lost today. That realization that, there's certainly things that I'm unable to do or feel or even see at times as a man. Just naturally, that's how it is, versus the same thing for a woman. And I think I can appreciate, my girlfriend and how she views things and how she looks at the world and the perspective that she gives me. Like just as much as I could feel like that for any married couple that may be in a healthy.
But see, that's the key when you're working together and it's a healthy relationship. But if you're not working together, one is not healthy. Two, for me, it would be a distraction, because every time I'm trying to accomplish something, I got to fight this battle too. You're never going to agree on everything. But if you always got an anchor holding you back, it's going to be hard to launch out into the deep, man, to do stuff, to be successful. So that's what you got to find, that common ground, man, and then you build off it. You're not going to agree on everything. Everything's not going to be perfect, but that's the benefit of having somebody you can talk to who gets an idea of what you're trying to accomplish, because any feedback they give you is going to be constructive. They just ain't going to make up stuff, because, like if you can't see what I'm trying to do, or you can't understand where it's coming from, how can you give me constructive, or how can you critique me? I think, and that's part of the problem, because when you're competing against each other, if my family's never been, if my family's never been an entrepreneur, everybody in my family work, and I'm throwing it out there, that's not true. Work for somebody. That's what they did. That's work for you to get the pension, and then, so that's me. But then I get with somebody who wants to be an entrepreneur, who said, hey, we can do this. Let's do this, let's do this. And I'm constantly saying no, because I can't see it. I can't fathom it. I don't have enough trust to take it. So now you got to, every time you do something, you got to drag me with you.
Yeah.
That gets tiresome. It gets burdensome. And it begins to wear you out. Even if you're talking about love language.
Just competing.
But even in
competition.
Even in love language, there has to be, to me, it's a benefit to know that I got the same person. That I got somebody that's faithful, that's loyal. That's a benefit to me. Then I got to go out here, shop around, find some. Every time I meet somebody, I got to, check the credit score, check the medical records. It's too much. Well, media promotes the separation of men and women. Many women say they don't need a man, and as a result, many women don't show real men the respect they. But see, that man, I could put that on. It's too many words, but I could put that on a t-shirt. No, because I think that's
read that. Okay.
Because that's the middle of. To me, that's at the cusp of everything we're talking about. I think there is a lack of respect.
Yes,
I think there is. This young boy said something to me. I'll never forget it. He said, "Man," because we were talking about respect, and this was a couple of weeks ago. And he said, "You know what? Y'all don't understand this. When we talk about respect, we talk about love." Because I'm thinking like, well, you ready to fight someone over disrespect? He says, nah, man, when somebody dish you and don't show you respect, that means they don't love you. They ain't show you no love. And I thought about that. Like, wow. I don't agree with it, but now I know why certain people act like that, because they ain't getting love at home. So think about it if that's your wife is disrespecting you. Somebody you say I love and they disrespect you. And as a man, I think women don't understand, how deep that cuts.
Yeah.
I think they don't understand how deep that cuts, and because if you say something, you show emotion or something, you're weak. But I think disrespect is huge. I think that's at the heart of so many issues that men and women have.
And that just kind of, at the root too, is just communication. Yeah. Like it's a hard time, I feel like at times, for men and women to even just communicate at points in time. And
number two,
doing a lot of talking and not enough.
Well, because And I'll say this, and I know
We're
I'm
just
getting
feeling
trouble.
attacked.
I'm gonna get in trouble for this statement because I'll say the
A lot of
average,
defense.
not all women. I think, and this goes kind of what we're talking about, finding the right one. This way you got to make sure, because a lot of times you get in discussion with a female, and you start off talking about your problems, and then you end up talking about something they want to talk about. That happens a lot, and I hear guys tell me this all the time, and that's why you got the benefits of relationship, but you got to make sure you're in a relationship with the right person, not just a person. I say this all the time. The Bible says, a man he who finds a wife finds a good thing. Every woman ain't a wife. They know I say that every woman ain't a wife, and every man ain't a husband. I think that's the part that people miss when they say that.
They're gonna hear that. They're gonna hear that wrong.
But I'm saying, that's what people hear that, and they no, every woman is not a wife, and every man is not a husband. You need to understand that. That applies when you find a wife. He didn't say when you find a woman.
But what's funny is
I think that plays a role in what we're talking about.
If people kind of maybe even took that approach to dating, that probably would change a lot of things out here. If you have that mindset of thinking like that, somebody who values and respects family and just being able to see and attain and follow a big picture, a plan or goal.
But that goes back
maybe
to
it may take some sacrifices and stuff like that.
But that goes back to allowing men to lead, and that's the problem, because people think when a woman allows a man to, they become a servant, they become a flunky. All those things come into play. When just saying, look, hey, that's my man. I trust him enough that he's going to do the right thing. Now, men have to earn it. That's nothing to do with being a flunky. You can't have two people, running everything, because nothing works. There has to be there has to be a situation set up or a system in place, for lack of a better term. No, that's the best term, a system in place where somebody has to kind of be the lead. Now, I'm not saying you do everything without having a discussion, but the benefits of having somebody with you, if there's the right person, sky becomes the limit, because you take like I've always told you, you have your gifts plus their gifts, and you're working towards the same thing. That's going to work.
Now, I got another list, guys.
Well, before you get that, because I'm curious about this question. He said,
it's not really a question.
Well, gentlemen, what is a question to me? Because, how do you demand respect?
It says an exclamation point behind it.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. Because
gentlemen, real men, and I emphasize real men demand respect. That's not no question.
Well, I mean, I turned it into a question. But what I do,
I'm really interested to know what you think about that statement.
Because when I sit down and talk to men, respect is the real issue. And this goes back to what the young boy said. The problem with it is, I think a lot of women, and I want to get back to what we're talking about, if you don't have the right woman, she doesn't see that as being a vital part of it, or she doesn't see that she doesn't think it's that big a deal.
I feel like you got to mention that maybe listen, I don't stand for it.
Well, we'll see. But this goes back to, we don't have those discussions before you get married.
And maybe that's part of it too. Maybe people don't have that discussion or set that early, and then it's just
that ain't part of it. That's
pattern.
They do. It's like I used to do this workshop, The Character of a Man. I used to talk about 10 questions women should ask men before they get into a relationship. And men should ask women. People they fall in love, or they fall in like, or they fall in lust. They don't ask those questions. Nobody says, well, will you see yourself in 5 years? Are you a spender or are you a saver? Nobody says that. Nobody sit down and says, well, or pay attention to how they treat their mama, or how they treat their siblings, how they treat other people. Nobody pays attention to that kind of stuff. Or how did your last relationship end? Because if you beating the snot out of everybody, this ain't a good fit for us. I broke out his windows. It's like I was interviewing somebody today to work for us in the camp, and she starts telling me how, I didn't put this one job on there because it didn't go well. Well, elaborate. Elaborate. And she says, well, I had to report somebody, and I'm thinking to myself, so I'm going to hire you, or you out there just reporting people random?
That's actually funny.
But
because now thinking about that in the dating sense, you just kind of leave out that gap.
It's like, and I'm sad. So I think it's important. The right person is so important. I think because we don't learn, especially as people of color, we're not taught to ask those questions. We're not taught to challenge the status quo. We're taught to meet somebody, fall in love, get married. The in between is what screws us up.
Yeah.
And when you find the right person, to me, when you find the right person, sky's the limit. Because one, marriage, no relationship is 50-50. That is a lie from the pit of hell. at one time or another, somebody's giving more. So you better make sure you got somebody in a relationship that can carry their weight. Because at one time or another, they are. That's the reality of it all. That is just a reality of any relationship, And so if you're talking about a vision, like when I started the Monday night group with the guys, we started years ago. First thing we started with, man, we started with a vision statement. I had the guys write a vision statement for you and then write one for your family. So you know where y'all trying to go. So you know the direction that you're headed in. So if she telling you no, then nah, this ain't one to move on to second base with. Because if she's telling you, well, day by day, nah, you can't live day by day. And so these are things that you got to do. And then now, what's her plans? What's her goal? Hopefully she has plans and goals. So she's saying herself the things that she want to go there, that she want to do. Because it can't be just about you.
No.
You chasing your goals. Because I'm gonna tell you what happened. And I learned this dealing with couples. Somebody gets jealous when the other person starts succeeding. All this crap that people say,
yeah, like in a relationship.
Because somebody says, well, oh man, he's in school now. He meeting different kind of people. He getting new. I'm not getting different. I'm using different words because I'm learning.
I think that's kind of back to what we said earlier about like not being on the same page and not seeing the bigger picture.
But that's why you got to get somebody that you got to get somebody that you can think you can hit a home run with every time. This is my favorite saying. My dad used to say it to me: you always aim for perfection, because if you miss perfection, you land on excellence. That's what you've got to have in a relationship, man. So people say, "Oh, you can't be perfect." Yeah, but that's the goal. Because if I screw up perfect, I fall on excellence.
Yeah.
But if you land for excellence and you screw up, you land on mediocrity. And too many people settle for mediocrity. So that's why it's important. If you put the right couple together, I give you the perfect example. This is the best example I could give you.
The Obamas?
No. Yeah. Me and anybody else but your mama wouldn't have made y'all.
That's very true.
Your mama and anybody else wouldn't have made y'all.
That's a crazy kind of...
But that's how powerful the right couple is. That what you create together can't be duplicated. It can't be.
It's a very good point. I'm like over here stuck on it now.
But I'm just telling you but that's nothing people don't realize. That's how powerful couples are. I think only my mom and dad could have made me.
Yeah. Think about what you can potentially create in terms of life.
They couldn't have made you in a test tube. They couldn't have sat down. The way you are designed right now is you wonderfully, uniquely made. And that's how powerful you got to think when you're talking about a couple.
Mm. And again, I don't think people really think about that, because I think I think people more so now than not.
But you also got to balance.
Don't want kids and don't think about it in that sense of like, oh, like, you know what it is? I think sometimes the extent of how far it goes, like we have a cute baby. Like that's what people probably think.
But the problem is you still got to live together.
We have a cute baby.
I mean, Kevin Samuels, one of the episodes we looked at, we were down there that kind of stood out to me, and he was talking about something similar to this. He was talking about people in relationships and how they just in it for two different reasons.
Yeah,
that's a problem. It's like when I sit down with couples, one of the first questions I ask a couple is, give them a piece of paper, write your definition of love. 80% of the time, I got two totally different definitions. That's the beginning of the problem. Because if you say, I love you to death till you part, they isn't I love you till we run out of money. That's an issue. Well, so you got to have somebody. That's why because you got to have somebody that if money get tight, because it probably will unless you're a millionaire, they still ride or die.
You don't really see that too often.
But that's my point. That's the power of relationship, because you put two heads together, man. Like, yo, if I got to do, like when I was working a full-time job, running my company, doing a thing, I used to be like a three, like now. I'm running my company, I'm doing a bunch of stuff, man. Yo, and your mom holds down the fort sometimes. That's a partnership.
You know what the reality is? It's just kind of like, I feel like this real toxic environment out here. I agree. Like all of these things sound good, like hypothetically, but then just looking at the landscape of dating.
That's your word, trust.
It's nuts out here.
That's your word. Nuts. I couldn't date. I'd probably go in a monastery. I couldn't do, because I hear some of the young ladies I work with, and I hear stuff in these workshops I do, and I look at some of these kids, man. Like when you do these assemblies, you talk to these kids about mental health. Get
on TikTok.
Mental health, yeah. But you talk we shouldn't even be having a discussion about mental health for middle school. It's crazy. 5.8 million middle schools. 5.8 million middle schools suffer some type of anxiety, and that's because of parents.
Do you think,
Parents create most of that.
so has it, like, I don't know what the numbers were prior to that. So obviously that sounds like that.
Well, it was so. Let me
tremendous.
tell you, what's funny about it? It was so intermediate. It was so almost non-existent. They weren't tracking it, and then all of a sudden they started getting all these middle school kids with all these issues. And when they really started examining them, getting school counselors, psychologists, all these people involved, they started realizing that anxiety was real.
Social media.
But see,
It's
to your
probably, as soon
point,
as that started, I'm sure that's probably been
because
when you
how
can
many
see
people
the
model
peaks in
relationships are on
anxiety.
social media?
Yeah, that's when you can see them peaks in anxiety.
And when you see social media, what do you see? Like, I don't even look at them. When they first came, I used to look at them because I was inquisitive, and I use some of them things, man. The woman always got to be the superhero, and always punking a man, and that's funny. That ain't funny. And then if you look at real TV, you look at My Wife and Kids, George Lopez. It's the same deal.
Yeah,
The husband is an idiot. So you put that out there enough, people watch this stuff over and over and over again. It gets in their head.
like that's the norm. Like that's how
So,
it should be.
but they think it's funny when they tearing down a man because it's funny on TV, and it's not. So then you wonder why this man shut down, why he quiet, why he don't want to deal with you no more, or why he just kind of moving flesh around. And that's what happens to stay on topic. When you get the wrong person, you produce wrong things.
Yeah,
That's just the bottom line. If you put salt, I don't care how. I don't care how fresh your water. I don't care how much you pay for the water. You put salt in it, you gonna ruin it. I don't care how hard you try. So it's the same thing. You get with the wrong person, it just creates toxin, a toxic environment. And you spend so much of your time dealing with that. You're tired, you're fatigued. You only had time to chase your vision. And trust, like Gary said, trust is huge because trust is not just. And I think this is another mistake. When I talk about trust with couples, trust is not always about whether somebody cheated or not. That's not true. I got to trust you with my dreams.
that's deep.
I got to be able to say
dreams.
when I tell you, like, hey,
That's a good point.
Yeah, because if I say, look, I'm going to start this business, and you laughing,
That's not somewhere where you get you need to but you want somebody to be honest.
That ain't gonna work. That ain't. But see,
I definitely want somebody to be honest. But yeah,
but that's not honest.
They're not laughing at you.
But that's not honest. Honest is asking you questions. Honest is asking you,
Make
have
you
you
think
thought
about
this
it.
out? And start asking you questions. Just to tell me it's not going to work, and you ain't never dreamed about getting out the house. Your biggest dream was getting a new car, getting a new Gucci purse or something. So I think that trust part is but it's not just about cheating. It's about I'm trusting you with my dreams. I'm trusting you with my life because while I'm out here hustling, taking care of business, I need you to be taking care of the back end.
Yeah.
Because you're just as important. I don't want to come home and the house is messed up and all the money spent, all the money I made is spent. And it has to be a balance. So you're both managers. But check this out. This is the difference. I learned this earlier. You're both managers, right? Mm-hmm. But somebody has to be a leader. See, the difference is managers manage resources. Leaders make a difference. Managers just manage things. They don't change anything. They'll manage stuff, but leaders make a difference. Leaders change things. Leaders are the ones who sit there and think we got to take a next step.
Yeah.
And both of y'all can be leaders.
True.
I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack. I know ladies watching give me a lot of flack.
Devin was about to say something. What were you about to say?
Yeah, I just really wanted to get your opinion because this is from
marriage.com. He's the list guy.
And this is 20 benefits of a healthy relationship.
Before you start, I guarantee you're Eurocentric. But anyway, go ahead.
Wow.
It says number 1 is better physical health, which I feel like that was in line with some of the things you were talking about with the less toxicity, getting along together and different things like that.
See, I wouldn't see that's number 1 because I know married people overweight.
I was about to say
who have part of that. So I think farther down the list you may say that, but I don't think that's it's I'm gonna keep it.
I was thinking when he said physical health, maybe that's even just talking about from a perspective of being happy, less anxiety, like not like that impacts.
But that's more emotional. That's more emotional.
But still, something you're not stressed, but no on your heart.
Oh, it's gonna be stressful. I've been married 39 years, dude. Let me tell you,
it's funny.
You had your moments. It's still stress. It ain't stressful.
The second one says longer life, which
it's funny because I hear that all the time. But see, now here's my joke for the day. That could be 2 reasons. It could be longer life because you're happy, or you long life like me. I ain't giving myself to anybody else. So I'm gonna outlive this.
I'm up to you up.
Yo, I'm keeping my stuff.
I mean, you can't take it with you anyway.
Yeah, but I don't want someone else to use it.
Me.
I'm talking about me. See, Devin, that's what I'm talking about. He said me. He said us. He said me.
I mean, we'll split it. What you want?
Now, the third one is decrease stress.
It depends on who you with.
That really
It
depends.
depends on who
I
you
was about to
with.
say it has to be a healthy.
Well, no, it's two
good-
sides.
These
because
are all for healthy relationships.
dating is
Right.
because see, to me, dating, especially I guess because of where I'm in my life, that would be stressful. That would be totally stressful.
Dating today
Man,
is stressful.
That I couldn't be doing.
Not mine, though.
I couldn't do it.
Just
I
saying,
couldn't do it,
general
man.
sense out here,
It would
I
be
can
stressful.
imagine.
It would be stressful, man. I couldn't do it.
The fourth one is quicker healing. I can kind of agree with that.
Quicker healing.
And
Why?
the
Because you're trying to get
aspect
away
of,
from it?
like-
No, that was
The
that
aspect
was
of instead of going through something by yourself,
I mean, you know
having
what?
that person there.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that because things have in my life. First of all, I say,
Is mom watching? You help me heal.
No, but I'm being honest. I just had and I could say, I'm 12 years cancer free, and I just had my follow up on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And they were amazed at how it did because from the time I had my surgery, I was walking. I was walking the next day. A week later, I was on the treadmill. It takes people. It takes people a long time to recover.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I
I would attribute that. I would say, yeah.
When I tore my Achilles, the same thing.
I would go with that. Wifey came through big.
The fifth one, which it can kind of be in the same vein, is experience less pain. Someone say it could be more pain.
Mental pain, emotional pain, physical pain.
Someone say you get more pain.
See, that's one that I don't understand.
They make yourself up.
Because I'm still. If I got a toothache, I'm gonna have a toothache. If I got a headache, I'm gonna have a headache. Come on, man.
All right, so I mean, after this, we can say what we think are the benefits.
I'm making my list.
And see, this opens it up for you to make your list. You love making a nice list here.
No, I'm just saying that's kind of ridiculous.
I actually like this. Going and seeing what's out there in online.
What's my pen and pencil?
I'd be like this. Like, hey, maybe make a note. Where's your phone? Get your phone.
Better physical form in fitness. I mean, if you work out together.
Yeah, but that's like the first one. It said physical fitness.
That's why a lot of this seems.
They just throwing stuff out here. They're gonna keep saying the same thing over. All right, I like this one though.
They took a poll of something. They took a poll of people who live near gym.
I do like this one.
Practical help.
Okay.
So specifically talking about a helping hand.
Expound upon that practical help.
Just a helping hand,
like you said, someone has to be able to carry the back end, correct?
But like I
Wouldn't that be a
said,
helping hand?
but this goes back to I said it has to be the right person.
Yeah.
Because if you're not working together, which is what we're talking about, that's more of a hindrance than a help because you spending half your time trying to fix the back end. It's like when I was in college, 2 wagons. You heard this story 1,000 times. 4 kids in each wagon. One in the front, one on each side, one in the back. One wagon is leading by about 5 yards. And my coach would say, well, why do you think one wagon is winning? And as a freshman, all aerodynamics, these kids are low. People say, no, look harder. And if you look hard enough, the kid in the wagon that was losing, the kid in the back, dragging his feet. They're about facing forward. They don't realize they're dragging his feet. They just not catching up. So if you got somebody in your relationship dragging their feet, you're never going to catch up. You can use that one too.
Very true. Put that in your list.
I got some cookies today.
Put that in your list.
Changing the habits and lifestyle.
I think that's a good one too. That's a benefit.
Yeah.
Like
Hopefully for the better.
Hopefully for the better.
Yeah.
Yes.
9 is shared experience.
That one could work either way, though, the changing habits and lifestyles. But shared experiences, again, that's another positive one. You're taking trips, you're going to places you may have not been before, trying out different things. I certainly feel like that's something that kind of lends to a healthy relationship. I mean, certainly try some things that I probably wouldn't normally be accustomed to. Or even, be open to some of those things just from the strength of being in a relationship.
Now 10 is emotional support, which that should probably be on there. That is
no, but that was we debating earlier though. So how you flip now?
What you mean?
I was
No, we were on the show. We were talking on the show earlier about how if they laugh at you, you judge up, and we have talked about this on other shows where about you can't really, if you're a man, you can't show your emotions. We talked about that,
You can't show too much emotion. I feel like it's levels to the emotional side. Yeah.
Feeling seen and appreciated. I feel like one of those.
We'll get to that. Let's see.
No, see, and
I mean, everybody wants to feel
Yeah.
seen and
Which is
appreciated,
true.
especially when you go out here and you
but it doesn't always happen.
tackling the world. You want
I go
your
back to-
partner, you know. Boom,
I
hold you
said
down.
that to the kids, and I teachers participated too in the auditorium in the assembly yesterday. I asked them, I said, well, who in here wants to feel appreciated? First, everybody's afraid to raise their hand, and then they start to raise their hand. I said, okay, well, let me first. Who in here doesn't want to feel that way? You know, and you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how many people fall into that category.
They
man.
don't want to feel appreciated.
Because they don't want to. Because they don't. There was a kid I was talking to, and I'm not gonna say where because somebody will be watching. And he says, "Hey, all my parents do for me is let me live here. I don't want them to be responsible for me. I don't want to be responsible for anybody." This kid think he doesn't need that. There's women who says, and Gary said it, I don't need a man. I don't need a man. You can get artificially, you have a kid artificially now. There's no affirmation in that.
Yeah.
So we have become a society where everybody. I think we all need it, but people will tell you all day long. I don't care what people think,
And I think
they will
that's
say that all
false.
day
Like,
long.
they just be saying it like everybody
Yeah.
wants to feel appreciated. I just think maybe it's a problem with people saying that. You know, maybe they feel some type of way. I'm not sure exactly what they may feel or think. It sounds like we're saying that, but yeah, everybody, even in a sense of just being seen and heard, you know what I mean? Maybe taking it in that type of route, like just that you're there or present or somebody cares or like they seeing what you're doing. Like everybody wants to be appreciated. And I think, maybe some people, kids, you would hope that they would say that. It's kind of sad that some of them feel like that, but even more so adults, I think maybe they think that that's not appropriate or okay to say.
How about 12? It says higher self-esteem. I'm on the fence about
It
that.
depends on who you marry with. If they call you stupid,
It's
what are you stupid?
It's for healthy relationships.
This is if you're in a healthy relationship.
You ain't the same person I married 12 years ago. Nah,
Higher self-esteem.
no, but I could.
But again, if you're a quality partner,
I can see it. I
like
can
you
see
feel
that.
good.
Yeah.
Some women, they upgrade guys' dress. They take pride in that, and like vice versa. Like some guys elevate women. Maybe I don't know how, but
13 is lower anxiety and depression.
There's too many punchlines in all these.
No, it's like-
No, but I think it depends on. I think if you're in the right situation, it would be.
This is a duplicate, though. I'll say that.
A lot of it is a
It
duplicate.
would be. It would
Because
be.
the 14th is opportunities for growth.
I would say
In a
that
way.
with a good partner in a way. Like you can grow so many ways. Maybe spiritually, emotionally, financially, career-wise. Like but I can see that.
Yeah, a lot of these last ones are better productivity.
You skipped one that I thought was pretty funny or good.
Which one?
Go back. Let's give me one, man. I need more time.
Because they all kind of seem the same.
What was it? A greater sense of purpose in meeting. I think that one could be particularly a good one.
See,
Think about the idea of family. It gives you something to aspire to be. Of course, some people, want to be great on their own, but then some that might.
Gary and
take it to
Aaron,
another
you
level.
can add to this list too, man. I'm curious what you guys thinking about making up your own list.
Like these lists. Sometimes, I'm interested to know where they be coming from.
I do agree with 16. Enhances your communication. If you're with a good partner, it does make you want to communicate more, figure out different ways how to communicate your thoughts and ideas to this person in a healthy manner.
I could definitely see that. Yeah, for sure. That it may improve communication, but I think as we're seeing as we go through this list, certainly it depends upon if you are with the right partner and can kind of build on a lot of these different things.
I do like this last one though.
How many I gotta
Part
come
of
up with?
something bigger.
We mentioned this. Be a part of something bigger. So that's like Aaron dropped this in here, having a shared vision. Being able to see a bigger plan, the finish line, and an ultimate goal, like just a bigger picture is definitely something that I think a successful, healthy couple has, And then I think that kind of centers you too, because when you do hit those bumps in the road, like ultimately you remember like why and what you're doing all these things for. So I think that's where you might see a lot of relationships fail, because like you said earlier, like they don't come together on a similar bigger picture or ultimate goal. And other things just get in the way and kind of erode at relationships. Dad, I see you kind of going through your list here.
I'm rolling, man.
I'm
rolling,
like, man, he's trying to have 20 of them things.
I ain't got 20. I'm trying to get the 10. But I like that. I like what I think what Aaron said is true. I think we have to learn, and I think this is a trait. And I'm not going to turn it into one of mine, but I think when you talk about that list, I think it's important is it's not just communication, but healthy communication. I think that has to be clear.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody doesn't understand the definition of communication. Like I'll sit down with a couple and she thinks communication is just fussing at him all the time. Communication is a two-way street. It is not just talking, it's also listening. It's giving the other person an opportunity to respond. And healthy communication is respecting what the other person says, whether you agree or disagree. Mm. That's so important because
respect.
I may think you upset over something that's really simple, but it means a lot to you. And I have to learn to respect that.
Yeah, I think that's actually a big key as well. Like, I mean, just to kind of really focus on the benefits of men and women coming together. Did want to just kind of say or kind of throw in my 2 cents. I don't necessarily have a list. I'm not at that level yet, but I do.
I'm a list guy, man. What can I say, man?
I do believe just kind of with summarizing all those things. There are benefits in regards to one, health, whether that's mental as well as physical, depending upon your partner. I know sometimes they may be in a situation where they just make you eat better, but in regards to even just having a different way of thinking and approaching and looking at things, I think that's something that to me is certainly a benefit, whether that is trying new foods or experiencing new places, learning about new cultures. And again, that can happen vice versa. I think that's certainly a benefit of just men and women being able to work together, And then, of course, I feel like from a man perspective, we just as much can teach, things about life and maybe how to be handy, how to handle certain situations. He ready. But then, Devin, I see you pulled up another list here, too, that seems pretty similar to the first one. I'm already looking
it's
at
for
that.
black people, though.
This would be good. Go ahead. Let me hear it. Hold up. Because, gentlemen, you are what you eat. Just observe the nonsense on television. Television. That's fine. So many people are systematically, being programmed. I do agree. 250%, man. Mm-hmm. Go ahead and give us a social media spill before we get to this. Go ahead, Devin.
Now, this is the same website, marriage.com, but I'm assuming this is
for black
people, because I'm assuming a black man wrote this. The first one they said was there is teamwork.
Healthy black love. What does it look like? Teamwork. Teamwork make the dream work.
Teamwork. I actually do agree. There is effective communication.
Yeah.
The third one, we spoke on this a little bit before.
You said this.
There is respect.
Respect.
Yeah.
Needs to be respect.
Yeah, it needs to be mutual.
And then black love is also genuine.
Yeah.
And then black love is trusting.
So kind of similar. I think these are things that you kind of said.
Yeah, same I want a different thing. I want something totally different.
That was a short list.
Yeah. Okay. They got right to the point.
I only came up with 10.
Only 10.
So,
and there's
my first one. No, my first one is I think, and the benefit is it helps you create a stronger vision. I think a lot of times when we create our visions, when we're by ourselves, we don't think it's big as when we know we're responsible for other people. Mm-hmm. We know there's more people involved. I think number 2, it should challenge you to be the best version of yourself.
Yeah. And I was just going to think more perspective of asking you questions and make you maybe think about things differently.
But it should challenge you to be the best version of yourself. Number 3, it should stretch you to go beyond what you believe possible. Hey, anybody can write these down, man. They're free.
Put them up online.
I use these in my work. I create a workshop over the last list we did.
We coming up with material on the spot.
Provide,
keep doing lists.
Provide a safe space. I
Yes.
mean, your relationship should be a safe space. If you got to cry, if you got to complain, if you got to moan, that should be allowed without being judged. I think everybody needs to, look, baby, it was a tough day, frustrated, I almost flipped out on something, whatever it is. I think you need a safe space. I think provide emotional growth. I think in a healthy relationship, both people grow emotionally. Because you're one way when you're single and you get a relationship is different. I think you need to help each other grow emotionally.
True.
You do. Provide loving, supportive, and nurturing environment. that needs to be the place where you can get those things.
Like a safe space.
Yeah, but a little safe space is close to it, but in that space it should be loving, nurturing, like, hey Chris, what can I do? That kind of thing. I see you had a tough day. That may not always be the case in the safe space. Safe space could be a place where you can just come and be vulnerable. So it's close, but and loving. It should be loving, man. It should be a space where, if you're going through something, you shouldn't be, why don't you take out the trash first? You
see you going through
but tomorrow first. But we can talk. I got to talk to mom. We can talk about it later.
It's a couple dishes.
One of my favorites: learn selflessness, not selfishness. I think in a good, healthy relationship, people learn to be selfless and not selfish.
Yeah,
That's hard.
It is. I mean,
it is hard, but it's essential, though. It's essential, man.
It is.
Me being the youngest, that's very hard. It's essential. So I'm blaming you.
One of my favorite ones: grow your weaknesses and strengthen your strengths. Because you should be in a relationship where somebody can help you point out your weaknesses, not in a negative way, but hey, like when I first started public speaking, your mom was probably she still is one of my biggest critics. As much as I hate it, it helps me correct and grow stuff. So she helped me. In the areas that I was strong in, she helped me get better in those areas. So I mean, yeah.
Certainly felt that too.
Yeah. Explore past experiences because they contribute to who you are. You need to talk about
You
things.
say explore past experiences?
Yeah, because if somebody's in a relationship and they're hurting for something their dad did, it can be a hindrance in your relationship. So that you need to be free to talk about that. So you can know where it's coming from. Like, for instance, if you playing with somebody, like, and you say, man, what, you stupid? And you say jokingly, but maybe this person's parent called him stupid for years. Yeah. Or you play, or you say, man, oh, you don't look good at all, jokingly, and so you need to be able to deal with your past, healthy. You need to find out what's in. It's like I said, you got the Volkswagen. I got 20 suitcases. He got 20 suitcases. They all ain't fitting in there. You start throwing stuff out. The problem is when you start unpacking, you don't know what's in those suitcases.
I really want to update this car,
and that's a lot of us, man.
You get Dodge Caravan.
Something.
And number 10. Invest in the next generation as you create a like-minded legacy. When you're a couple of
like-minded legacy.
Yeah, when you have kids, man, you gotta have a like-minded legacy.
Yeah.
So I can put a list together, man. Come on.
I like your list.
That's years of experience, man.
I really like your list.
Amber Potter Powell says constructive criticism. Love that. Or rebel. That's right. I couldn't see that. I'm looking over there instead of looking at mine.
Love that.
Yeah. But as a woman, I always want to criticize. Now I'm on the tease. No, but it has to be constructive. And like when I'm talking to people, I tell them point blank. I don't like the word criticize. I like the word critique. Because often when people criticize, they don't have a solution. When you critique somebody, and this is what I tell people, you have a solution.
Yeah.
Like I can't say, Chris, I hate it when you do that. And then you ask me what that is. I don't know.
I need you to be okay. Yes. I don't like when you do that. How about doing this?
Well, and it's the way you say things. Like you don't say I hate. Or when I tell couples, you should never tell somebody you make me do anything. You made me mad. No, because you're giving somebody power. Mm-hmm. This is how I feel.
Was upset.
This is how I feel when you do that. Mm-hmm. So there's a difference. People say constructive, but to me, I don't. I just think because some people criticize you, it ain't constructive, man. And sometimes it's their opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's their opinion.
It's just wanting to share an opinion. Man. I think it's actually kind of interesting because I did bring it up quite a few times.
Good job, Amber.
Giving different perspective and looking at things, but I think, and being able to provide that sometimes it's a certain way of doing it,
Yes.
Like it's got to be a little bit more nuanced and maybe.
But I think we're in a time now where people are more sensitive, but less filtered.
Which is ridiculous.
It is, but it's true. But it's true.
People are.
They're more sensitive, but they're less filtered.
That needs to be a show.
They don't think about what they say, but soon you say something back.
Super sensitive and less filtered.
Yeah.
It's crazy out here. Oh my goodness, that really struck a chord with me because it's like you see it all the time. Now.
Somebody walked up to me, right, and I haven't seen him in a long time. He said, "Oh man, what happened?" He said, "Man, there's a bit of hair on your chin. It's all great." So he was bald. I said, man, look at the hair on your head. It's all gone. And so he looked at me. Yeah, wait a minute, you just talking about me? Yeah, but so I mean, but you were okay. You were laughing when he said it to me. Oh yeah, look at it on your okay, look at it on your head. It's all gone. Yeah, he didn't think that was funny.
But you know what though? Like
I did. I thought it was.
I don't know why society seems to really be like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And you see it on a broad level where it's just people have this need or idea where they feel like they can say whatever they want unfiltered. Yep. But you know, when you try to, you could even say it in a way that's respectful, but it's just like, no, don't say that to me.
I never thought I would say this, but Charles Barkley, I was watching the Club Shay Shay, and but he said something similar. He said it's funny because you get some of these people in the media, like him and Skip, going at it. Mm-hmm. He said, something we think they can say whatever they want to say. But the minute you respond, even if it's true differently at them, they got a problem. Yeah. Now they want to say, oh, you want to make it personal. You just attacked my personal life. Mm-hmm. And now, so I think this is a society, it's a problem we have in society. You know, we're less filtered, but we're more sensitive. I'm going to give you a piece of my mind. Mm-hmm. And Lord knows, many people say that can't afford to give up any of their
freedom of speech.
They love free speech.
Love free speech, but don't let them freely hear what I'm saying. Like, this is crazy.
I agree. So I think that is one of the issues we deal with. But I think this goes back to in my list. I think I love those lists I do. But I also think we need to have lists that instructs people how to get there.
Yes.
Because, you know, and that's why I put the loving, nurturing, and rub, because, you know, what does it look like? What does a safe place look like? Mm-hmm. We assume that people get older and they know how to go into a relationship, and they don't. You know, most people mimic the relationship that they were raised in. So if you were raised in a dysfunctional family, you think that's normal. Yeah. You don't understand it's abnormal. So you bring on some of them traits. And the problem is when you get married, you bring it into the relationship. Mm-hmm. So that's why it takes two strong people that have a good, strong, healthy relationship.
But you know what? And like with that kind of thing that you were saying of like people,
it's a whole show by itself.
It is, but not having that familiarity with like our upbringing, you know, with seeing a healthy relationship. Yeah. That's where you start to see people really look to things online, and then that's when they like picking up.
I can Google it.
Like you got your Derek Jacksons and your Kevin Samuels, and, but and your other relationship gurus. Like
I'm gonna give you my list so you can post this, man.
You have your fresh and fits.
Your fresh and fits. Like all these dudes, like.
But that's why I think it's important.
It's people that's lost, just looking for something out there.
I agree. Mm-hmm. I agree. But that's why I think it's important that, you know, going back to what we're talking about. You try to find somebody who you can build something with, whatever that something is. Mm-hmm. You find somebody who can help you get to where you're trying to get to, and you can help them get to where they're trying to get to. You know, you don't marry a competitor. You know,
somebody that's going to compete.
Just going to make you drive. No, I can get that anywhere. I need somebody that's going to, I just going to cheer me on, but also support me. Mm-hmm. You know, and sometimes maybe push me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't need somebody to say, well, I got to get a raise now, so I got to work 20 more hours a week. No, that's what I don't need.
You need to get a raise.
Because as a man, and I say this to young women all the time, as a man, most of us know what I'm about to say, especially if you're in corporate America, you go through enough at work.
Yes. Yeah.
You ain't trying to come home and fight that same battle. At least I know I'm not.
And I would say that for everybody that is working with
But I think people don't understand that.
We just expect,
especially when it comes to men. I think people think that, you know, that we don't have those issues. Mm-hmm. You know, we don't deal with the racism or people talking down to us or people saying whatever, you know, and that stuff builds up.
Yeah.
You know, and then when you come home, you know, like I always tell people, yo, don't greet homie.
You're just another employee.
Don't greet homie at the door. And this is a sidebar marriage tip. Well, yo, if you got bills to pay, you don't have to greet him when he come in the house and start talking about the bills. Well, the bills are real. Yeah, but guess what? If you don't have money in the bank, after you go to the bathroom and eat dinner, you still ain't gonna have money in the bank. ain't no more money gonna jump in the bank because you told him before he did dinner. Yeah, but so I think that helps too. And I think that's what happens about if you don't sit down and define a relationship. You'll never have power. You got to define a relationship, man. And I think that is so important. And I think too many times we don't. We take it for granted. Some of us we spend so much time planning the wedding, but we forget about the marriage.
Ooh.
We do. We'll
I've
spend
done that a lot of times, man. I feel like you need
yeah.
a button. You've been dropping some bombs.
We spend a lot of time for the wedding, man, but then we don't work on the marriage. Yeah. We get every detail in the wedding down pat. We got the right dress, we got the right flowers, we got the right caterer, we invited the right people, and then we get married. We don't have no vision, no plan.
But you know what's actually funny?
Now what?
Like again, that's probably something that you see a lot more in our culture today. And this is not just a black or white thing. I feel like in a general sense.
Yeah, I agree.
People are more amped up and geeked up about the wedding more than they talking about the marriage and spending the rest of your life with your partner.
I told somebody today, I said, if I had to do it all over again, I'd have bought a house. I would have had a small ceremony.
You heard that?
I would have bought a house and I got me some stocks and bonds. Because half them people that come to the wedding don't even remember. And I remember when we were doing Nicole's wedding, and I said, this is how we're going to do the list. If they only come for weddings and funerals, cross them off the list. If they don't even know your birthday, cross them off the list. So I'm saying, I get it, but you spend all that money for a ceremony for everybody else to have a party.
Yeah.
And you could take some of that money, you can invest in a house, you can buy some stocks. Hey, start a savings bond for your kid.
Yeah.
So I mean, I didn't know it back then, and I probably should be sharing more of that, but that's what I would do. I would say, look, I didn't have to have 27 people in my bridal party. Mm-hmm. You know, we the world for a bridal party. I didn't have to have it. Yeah. You know, but I'm saying so you can stay, and I'm not saying don't have a great time because you do, you deserve it. But think about your future. Mm. And I think that's why you need a balanced relationship because somebody got to say, hey, what about this? Mm-hmm. Somebody to say, what about that? And I think too many times because it's how we're taught. We're taught that, when you get married, we have a party, man. Yeah. And everybody, we can't wait to come to the party. Yeah. Then they bring you some gifts from the dollar store. you serving $100 plate, and they went down to the dollar store and got 6 glasses with a letter on it. Man. So I'm just saying, I just think, part of a couple being successful in a relationship, man, is make sure they're on the same page and not, at least working towards some of the same goals. And they're going to shift.
Dad, I just want to say, you've been dropping some heat tonight. You have been. I think that people in the comments have definitely agreed and said so as well. I got a text. Say, I need to repost some of this stuff. I'm serious.
Because you know what?
Gems.
Because to me, I guess because the blessing and the curse is I've seen every population from preschool to prison. Mm-hmm. Single people, divorced people, married people, and especially our people. We have so many issues that we can control, that we should control. We just don't do the work. Somebody said this to me yesterday.
That's another gem.
Somebody said this to me yesterday. A friend of mine, becoming a friend of mine, he's running for office. He won. I'm not going to say where. And he said he made a comment on his social media page, and he said that black people are intentionally uninformed. And he said a lot of black women got upset. And I agree with him. We ain't reading no books. And we're watching the trilogy of Jason the 13th. We're not watching
the truth hurts. And I think that's what is upsetting.
And that's what I told him.
Within our community is like nobody can say the truth to each other.
But it's the same thing in relationships. No matter the divorce rate is going up, the suicide rate is going up. It's all kind of crazy stuff that's going up. And it's not good. We just did the video we did on prostate cancer. That's killing more black people. There's so many things taking us out. Things we can't control. Some things taking us out. That the things we can control, getting in a healthy relationship, making sure we taking our time to pick the right rate, making good choices. We can control those things. Mm-hmm. I don't have to be married and divorced 7 times. Those are things that we can control. And sometimes it means, that you got to make a list. This is what I need. If we ain't checking these boxes, I mean, you wouldn't go. And it's funny because Charles Barkley said this, and I say the same. He says, because he was talking about why he went to Auburn. He said the other 2 schools he was going at, they had went to the Sweet 16, and everybody was coming back. So he was like, what that means? He said, because I wanted to play. He said he went to Auburn and watched them practice. He said, them guys couldn't beat me dead.
Why is it so funny?
So I'm not saying as bad as he said it, but it's the same thing in life. When we start making the choices about a partner, man, we got to make sure that we're thinking in the long haul. And we got to make sure it's somebody that we can grow with. Not you grow and they don't grow. Not they grow, you don't grow. Somebody you can grow with. And that means you have to ask the right questions. That means, you need to figure out, look at that relationship they have with their parents. If you're treating your mom, I know what you can do to my mom. If you cussing out your dad and your brother, I know you're not going to respect me. Every time we're together, you gossiping about somebody else. So, I mean, these are the things that so it's important, man. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I think the right couple, you should feel like a power couple. I do. You should feel like a power couple. I'm not saying, you should be doing all kind of crazy stuff, but when I'm with your mom, we go out, I feel like a power couple. When we go somewhere and speak, and I feel like a power couple.
Y'all be having on your little vests.
Whatever, man.
Power vest.
I do. I do feel like we get dressed to go out, man. Well, if I'm speaking at a church, wherever I'm speaking at, she's there, I make sure, because I do feel like a power. I do. And she may not say stuff. She's never going to get up in front of people, but I know that she got my back. I know that's my ride or die, man.
Yeah. Well, I think we had a great show. A lot of gems dropped here tonight. Yeah. Time flew by. Certainly something I feel like we can always talk about and spend time on, Again, just looking at the climate and culture, and it's something that I think people need to hear.
Well, I keep saying I want to do this. I would love to do a show.
Hear the truth. Hear something open, honest.
Hear me, Gary, and hear me, Aaron. I would love to do a show with a roundtable discussion where we had like a couple guys and we sat down and just dug into different topics.
I think we should do some, maybe invite some women to the table too and have this conversation.
Well, I can. You can. I can't. I can't be telling some woman, hey, come on, mom, come in my basement.
Come on over.
I don't think your mom would appreciate that. Like, what she do? Well, we doing the show tonight. I don't think that would go over big in the penthouse. So how many rooms you got over there?
I'll take care.
How many rooms you got over there?
Oh, man. But, Ben,
I'll be able to drive the tractor over there to ride. I was at the bar. I had to ride it over there.
But thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. Like, we had a great conversation. Again, as I said, Dad dropped a lot of gems here tonight, and we're going to be able to hopefully chop some of that up, and that'll be easier for people to share. But certainly, you can still follow.
It's your thing, Devin. It's your thing, Devin. Do your thing. We missed you at the beginning.
Share, subscribe, comment, interact with us. We're on all platforms. A2BM, above average black men.
Yeah, and love when you guys join live and drop the comments. We certainly appreciate that. Thank you, Facebook fan, Podbean, YouTube, Instagram. Have a great week, everybody.
See you guys next week, same time.